Can you really get superior health and fitness benefits in 90% less time with Carol Bike? Can you really do the most effective cardio workout in just 5 minutes? And how can two 20-second sprints create the most powerful training stimulus? I've done over 1,200 REHIT rides on Carol Bike. Let me answer those questions for you. Let's start with, what is the Carol Bike? It's the smartest, most effective exercise bike. It's been scientifically proven to give you superior health and fitness benefits in 90% less time compared to regular moderate intensity cardio. The simple and AI personalized workouts are suitable for any age and fitness level. Workouts can be done in 5 minutes, and you only need to work hard for two 20-second sprints. It's been designed to offer the shortest and most effective workouts that are easy to fit into your life so you can build a sustainable habit for fitter and healthier you. The bike uses REHIT, reduced exertion, high intensity interval training, which is HIIT taken to the next level. Our AI learns to push you to your limit and applies the optimal resistance at precisely the right time, instantly. With Carol Bike, only two 20-second sprints are enough to create the most potent cardiorespiratory training stimulus. And if you wonder how Carol Bike got its name, Carol stands for Cardiovascular Optimization Logic. So Carol is your AI-powered personal trainer to optimize your cardio workouts. You have probably heard of HIIT. A typical HIIT program lasts around 20 to 30 minutes and could have 4, 5, 6 or more higher intensity intervals. And those would last anywhere from 40 seconds to 4 minutes or more. There's a great deal of variety. While the benefits of HIIT are beyond any doubt, it is actually quite difficult for many people to do. So the perceived rate of exertion is very high. And it is also not that time efficient. REHIT was developed by scientists looking for the shortest and most effective and accessible way to exercise. A REHIT session consists of only two 20-second sprints with a very light warm-up, recovery and cool-down. The whole workout can be done in as little as 5 minutes, and the research shows you only have to do it 3 times per week. And I will do a real ride demo a little later in the video, so you get a good feel for what it is. So where HIIT offers high intensity training, REHIT offers maximum intensity training. You push your body to new limits, making you much fitter and stronger. What do we mean by fitter and stronger? Well, the primary benefits of Carol are improved cardiorespiratory fitness and metabolic health. Cardiorespiratory fitness is measured by your VO2 max, which is your maximum capacity or ability to burn oxygen during exercise. Scientific studies have shown that with REHIT, you can improve your VO2 max on average by over 12% in only 8 weeks. That is a big deal. VO2 max is the most important health marker and the strongest correlate to life expectancy. Scientists have shown that a 10% higher VO2 max adds 2 years of healthy life expectancy. So an improvement of 12% after only 8 weeks is really very significant. To put this into further context, as we age past the age of 30, our VO2 max declines by about 10% each decade. So in only 8 weeks, you can turn the clock back on your age by over 10 years. That's very noticeable. It's not subtle at all. In terms of metabolic health, you can reduce your risk of developing type 2 diabetes by 62%, also in only 8 weeks. And again, that's very substantial. And the same you could expect from taking a drug like metformin. Beyond those primary benefits, there's a long list of further benefits. For example, the forces applied during the sprints are relevant for developing your muscles, and on average, leg strength will increase by 13% over 8 weeks. Then you burn a meaningful amount of calories because the sprints create a phenomenal amount of afterburn. Scientists call it EPOC, excess post-exercise oxygen consumption. And with a REHIT ride, you burn twice as many calories after your workout than during your workout. Also, REHIT is good for your brain because it stimulates the release of BDNF, brain-derived neurotrophic factor, which supports neuroplasticity and so helps keep your brain healthy and young. High-intensity exercise generally is good for your mental health and has been shown to be as effective in treating anxiety and depression as psychotherapy or medication. The list goes on and is really just a reflection of how fundamentally important exercise and physical activity is for all of us. Now, could you achieve all those benefits with other exercise? Yes, of course, but you'd need to spend a lot more time on it with other moderate intensity cardio. You would need at least 2.5 hours per week, whereas with Carol, it is as little as 15 minutes per week. At this point, many of you will think 15 minutes per week, 5 minutes per workout, with only 2 20-second sprints, how could you possibly get amazing health and fitness benefits in such short time? And I don't blame you. That's a natural response because we've been long conditioned to think no pain, no gain, and that you have to work out for long hours. But it is important to understand that you don't get fit while you work out. And that's true for all exercises and workouts. You don't get fit while you work out. You get fit in the recovery between your workouts. The workout just has to provide the stimulus. And with REHIT, you can create the most powerful training stimulus with just 2 20-second maximum intensity sprints. All you need is 5 minutes per session, 3 times a week, so 15 minutes total. And just to be clear, the sprints are simple because the AI and the bike control the workout and guide you through the routine. However, I would not call the sprints easy. REHIT is not a free lunch or a fitness pill. That's not what we're claiming. So to some extent, no pain, no gain still applies a little. But the sprints are so short that by the time the pain or discomfort kicks in, you're practically done. I'll show that to you in a moment when I do a ride. Okay, let me show you what REHIT is like. My bike is already set up for me and I am wearing a chest belt. I just get on the bike and click in with my cycling shoes. With cycling shoes, you can eke out a little bit more power, but you can of course also use the bike with normal trainers or gym shoes with the toe cage on the other side of the pedal. Then I just log in and choose a REHIT ride, and I'm ready to start. Now, I could choose from a variety of soundtrack and music options, but since I'm explaining the ride, I'll skip that for now. While we're in the warm-up, we pedal very slowly for up to 2 minutes. This will be very casual, very relaxed. You just loosen your joints a little. This is not part of the workout that creates the training stimulus. In fact, if you're in a rush or warmed up already, you can cut down the warm-up time to just 20 seconds by simply accelerating sharply, taking your cadence beyond the checkered flag on the RPM dial. However, you could also take the 2 minutes to focus on some mindfulness and on your breathing. Follow the breath pacer on the screen with a 4-second inhale and a 6-second exhale. This is a breathing pattern that has been shown to be particularly effective to activate your parasympathetic nervous system. Let's go. Very gently and slowly. During the warm-up, you're shown some key metrics from prior rides, like your peak power or your fitness score that you're trying to beat. And here comes also the breath pacer with a 4-second inhale and a 6-second exhale. Also notice how whisper quiet the bike is. Once the countdown goes to 3 seconds, the screen will turn red, and that is my signal to accelerate to the fastest pedal speed possible. So I will pick up speed at a very low resistance. And then Carol applies my personalized optimal resistance automatically in a fraction of a second. That particular sequence is really important to reach your maximum power. Imagine cycling up a steep hill as fast as possible. You would not want to start in a big gear standing in the steep section. Instead, you'd want to pick up pace in the flat before you enter the steep part. Okay, I get ready for my sprint now. Let's listen to Carol guiding me.
And be in the moment, completely present, always aware of your breath. Pedal slow, slow, slow. Notice any tension in your body. Let it go. Now, out of the corner of your eye, you catch sight of a shadow in the distance, and it's racing towards you at full speed. The shadow of a saber-toothed tiger. You need to sprint away now. Sprint harder, faster. Don't become the tiger's lunch. Go like the wind. Even faster. This isn't the time to give ground. It's getting harder now, but don't give up. There's a small wood ahead with places to hide. Use every single ounce of energy you have to reach it. Your family needs you. You're nearly there, but keep going. Speed will save your life. And you're safe in the undergrowth.
Let me talk about what's happening in your body. The first sprint I just did created a sudden spike in energy demand that's about 100-fold greater compared to rest. While the muscles are usually able to burn fat or sugar from the bloodstream through your aerobic energy system, the sudden increase in energy demand forces your muscles to use local, more immediately available energy sources. You start with burning phosphocreatine, which lasts for about 10 seconds. And after that, you will need to anaerobically burn muscular glycogen, which is sugar stored locally in the muscle. That is basically your body's emergency energy reserve. What's really the clever bit, or the hack about REHIT, is that your muscles mobilize a lot more glycogen than is actually needed for those short sprints. Because of the extremely rapid increase in energy demand, your body anticipates and prepares for a fight or flight situation. And your body doesn't know that it will only be for 20 seconds. The body only notices that there is a very severe increase in energy demand. And so it mobilizes lots of its emergency energy reserve, even though you then only use quite little of it during the sprints. Glycogen is a large molecule of branched polysaccharides. Instead of mobilizing just a few molecules and metabolizing those entirely, the body mobilizes loads of them, about 25 to 30% in your thighs, and metabolizes just the very outer branches. That's also the reason why you don't have to do more or longer sprints, because the mobilization of the glycogen is triggered by the rapid onset of the high energy demand. And beyond 2 20-second sprints, it seems to not matter how long you sprint or how many sprints you do. If you did more or longer sprints, you would burn through more of the mobilized glycogen. But that's not what triggers the adaptation in REHIT, and it's not what makes you fitter. The adaptation is already triggered just by mobilizing the glycogen from your emergency energy reserve. See, your body really does not like to tap into its emergency reserve. And when it is forced to do so, it sends a signal that it has to adapt and get fitter and stronger. But let's watch my second sprint.
Because who knows what lurks in these woods? And now you can feel eyes upon you again. You don't ask any questions, you just sprint. Go hell for leather. Faster, harder, as fast as you can. That's too slow, there's a tiger chasing you, so sprint. Out of the woods, up that steep hill before you. Use every ounce of energy you have. Up, faster, to safety. You're halfway up the slope and you're winning. Keep going, don't give up. And you've done it. Relax and calm.
So through the two 20-second sprints, you mobilize lots of glycogen. This leads to the release and activation of a glycogen-bound signaling molecule called AMPK, which in turn increases PGC1 alpha activation. PGC1 alpha is the master regulator for mitochondrial biogenesis. So your body develops more and larger mitochondria, which means you're getting better at utilizing oxygen in your muscles. The sprints also cause a transient drop in blood plasma volume that triggers central adaptations, meaning your body will also get better at delivering oxygen to your muscles with a stronger heart and increased blood plasma volume. The two 20-second maximum intensity sprints are thought to saturate the signaling response mechanism. So it is like a switch, and pressing the switch longer or harder does not seem to make a difference. What does matter though is that you sprint at your personalized maximum intensity, switching from 0 to max in a fraction of a second. And Carol Bike has been totally optimized to make this as simple as possible. The recovery after the first sprint takes up to 3 minutes, but if you recover quickly, feel ready for the next sprint, and want to minimize the time needed for the workout, you could keep the recovery as short as 1 minute. The cooldown, however, takes 3 minutes, and it is important to give your body this entire short period to recover. Metabolic waste products from the sprints create a temporary osmotic imbalance, and water shoots into your muscles. So your legs feel pumped and your blood pressure might drop a little. The 3-minute cooldown is enough time for blood pressure, heart rate, and breathing to go back to normal levels. These workouts stay challenging, even after you've done 1,200 of them like I have. That's because Carol's AI algorithms will personalize and optimize the resistance for you after each REHIT ride, so you always train at your optimal levels. On the other hand, you do get used to the sensation and the intensity of the rides. And because of Carol's algorithms and computer-controlled resistance, the rides are personalized and suitable for any age and fitness level. When you watched me doing the sprints, you might have felt or gotten a sense of my effort and my pain. Let's put this into context. I work out quite a lot. On many weekends I go for a 5K run. I do a fair amount of weightlifting, and I try to get a short stretching routine in every morning. In many ways, I find a 5K run much harder than a REHIT ride. Because in a 5K run, I have to push myself for 20-25 minutes every single step. Or when I'm lifting weights, I push myself close to failure in each set. With REHIT on Carol, I have to push myself for 2 20-second periods. And I only feel any discomfort in the last 5 seconds of each sprint. So mentally, I find it a lot easier, and I certainly see REHIT as the workout with by far the highest return on the time, the effort, and the pain that I invest. With moderate intensity exercise, government guidelines recommend 150 minutes of exercise per week. With REHIT, you can get superior results in as little as 15 minutes per week. So it's 90% less time. I hope after you've seen my sprints and heard the explanation of the physiological processes, you understand and believe that 2 20-second sprints are enough to create the most powerful training stimulus. Now, let me push that one big step further. What's really fascinating is that more or longer sprints not only do not give greater benefits, but seem to give less benefits. That is somewhat paradoxical and makes REHIT very unique, unlike any other exercise. For all other exercise, as far as the scientific community understands it, you get greater benefits if you do more of it or if you do it at higher intensity. Only with REHIT, this relationship does not seem to apply. Scientific studies indicate if you did 4, 5, 6 or more sprints or longer sprints, you get in fact less benefits. It's not clear why that seems to be the case, but one explanation may be that psychology kicks in. If you know that you have to do 6 sprints of 30 seconds each, you pace yourself and you don't push to your limits. You hold back. But REHIT is so effective because the sprints are so short, you don't need to hold back. You can go all out and push your limits. By now, many of you will understand and accept that such a short workout with just 2 20-second sprints can be so effective. We emphasize and demonstrate the intensity, and certainly once you've tried it for yourself, most people are convinced and become believers. On the other hand, maximum intensity sprints might just look, sound, and feel too hard for you. And that is a concern that we take extremely seriously, because the most effective, efficient workout would be entirely meaningless if you don't do it, if you don't stick to it and build a sustainable habit. While it's fantastic to see how quickly you can improve your fitness, the flip side is that you must stick to your routine to maintain it. In many ways, exercise is like diet. With a one-off crash diet, you can lose a lot of weight, but most people put it back on just as quickly afterwards. And the same is true with exercise. If you stop exercising, you lose much of the fitness improvements just as quickly as you gained them. So we are very clear that adherence is more important than effectiveness. You need to find a workout that fits into your life and that you can commit to and adhere to over the long run. Here are thoughts on adherence and on building a habit. Having a time-efficient workout option, even as a backup, can really help. If you simply don't have an extra 2.5 or 3 hours a week for cardio exercise, it's no good to have a bike with great music and celebrity instructors. Such external motivation might work well for some or for a while, but we believe you ultimately need something that fits into your life. Then REHIT is effective because you go to max intensity and push to your limits. But you sprint at your maximum intensity, not mine, and your personalized optimal resistance, not mine. Carol's AI achieves exactly that. And if 2 20-second sprints and a 5-minute routine are too hard for you, you have options to make it easier. While we do recommend that you do push as hard as possible, you can give yourself the full 3-minute recovery period between the sprints, and that will make the workout feel easier. the maximum length of the original REHIT workout would still only be 8 minutes and 40 seconds. You can also select REHIT options with shorter sprints. The REHIT variants with 2 10-second or 2 15-second sprints, for example, are a lot easier than 2 20-second sprints. I know it sounds incredible, but a 5-second shorter sprint duration makes a surprisingly large difference. While the shorter sprint workouts are, of course, less effective than the 2 20-second sprint version, they still deliver meaningful fitness benefits. And so they're a great option while you build up your fitness, get used to sprint training, or for days where you simply feel less strong and resilient. Our new riders hit, on average, 3.2 rides a week in their first 100 days, which we're very happy about because it shows that you can build a sustainable habit with Carol Bike. Who's the bike for? Who's using Carol Bike? In principle, it is for any age and fitness level. You just need to be tall enough, so from 4'7" or 1.40 m, and ideally not too tall, up to 6'7" or 2 meters. The maximum user weight is 330 pounds or 150 kilograms. Children and teenagers under 18 can use the bike, but please with adult supervision. Also, when you register, you will need to complete a physical activity readiness questionnaire, the same as when you sign up with a gym. If you have pre-existing medical condition, we advise that you check with your healthcare provider, with your doctor, whether REHIT is suitable for you. In terms of who our typical users are, there's a very large spread. The range is from as young as 10 to over 80. The majority, though, is between 35 to 65 years old. And I think that's because from 35 or 40, many people start to approach sport and exercise slightly differently with more specific health and well-being goals in mind. We have pretty much an equal number of men and women using our bike, so it's not something that's just for men or just for women. And in terms of fitness and activity levels, the range is vast. We have users who start with Carol coming from a relatively sedentary lifestyle, but I know we have also many users who do loads of sport and exercise, who are very athletic, and who want to add this very effective additional training stimulus to their toolkit. And because of Carol's AI and personalization, we can cater for such a diverse set of fitness levels and objectives. I'd like to take one step back and share what inspired us to create Carol Bike. I came to the fitness industry as an outsider. I'm a mechanical engineer, and I worked first in automotive and then most of my career in healthcare, trying to make patient care better and more effective. So, for example, we designed and ran chronic disease management programs for people with heart failure or diabetes. For those patients, exercise would be the most powerful intervention. Yet it is a real struggle to get people to exercise. Inactivity is the 4th leading cause of mortality. Low cardiorespiratory fitness leads to more deaths than smoking, obesity, and diabetes combined. Exercise has so many clear, immediate, and proven benefits to your health. Not to mention your quality of life, how you look and feel, and how well you age. However, only 5% of Americans dedicate enough time to exercise. That's very hard to comprehend. When asked why, the top answer is always, I don't have enough time to exercise. Busy schedules and endless entertainment and distractions make it difficult to prioritize fitness. Now, in 2012, my co-founders and I saw a BBC documentary showcasing REHIT as the most effective exercise. It promised fantastic benefits, could be done really quickly, and most people would not even sweat. For us, it was love at first sight. And I went out the very next day to get a conventional exercise bike. However, my experience was nothing like what was shown on the BBC. So we contacted the researchers on the program, like Dr. Niels Vollard, and the first thing they told us was, you need a special bike. In their labs, they used special research equipment that was operated by a lab technician and also very expensive, and so just not a practical solution for a consumer or a gym. So we saw this brilliant research and an obvious gap in the market and thought that we can develop a specialized bike that makes REHIT simple and accessible for a broad audience. Today, the Carol bike is the only bike for gyms and consumers that's optimized for REHIT, allowing you to achieve fantastic health and fitness gains with just 2 20-second sprints. Let's dive a bit deeper into why you need a special bike and also what is special about Carol bike. First, to reach your maximum intensity levels, you'd need to apply the correct resistance just in your sweet spot at the right time, just after you've built up speed at a low resistance, in a fraction of a second, going instantly from very low to very high. On a Carol bike, this is achieved through a computer-controlled brake system that can apply your optimal resistance instantly. On a normal bike, that's very difficult, and I will show this quickly. I have here a very well designed, high quality, commercial grade, conventional stationary bike as it is used in group classes in a decent gym. There are two critical differences to a Carol bike. One, I have to manually adjust the resistance with this lever. Other popular models have a knob. And two, it has a fixed transmission from the cranks to the flywheel. So I always have to pedal in sync with the flywheel. I cannot just stop, and I have to be careful not to lose my rhythm. In fact, if I were to lose my rhythm at a very high pedal speed, there'd be a large amount of kinetic energy stored in the flywheel, and worst case, the cranks would just yank my feet around and I could get injured. The Carol bike has a freewheel clutch, which means you can stop pedaling at any time while the flywheel keeps spinning. This allows you to do explosive sprints safely on a Carol bike. So let's just try whether it works for REHIT. No. So that didn't work. That was quite sketchy. It's almost scary to take your hands off the handlebar at such high speed. But let's try again. No, that didn't work either. So as I try to adjust the resistance, I lose the rhythm, and it's very difficult. Definitely, I wouldn't get to my optimal resistance. Let's try another time. No, now I hit the emergency brake. So on a conventional bike, it's really very difficult to pedal at very high speed, then take your hands off the handlebar and dial in the optimal resistance quickly, accurately, without losing your rhythm. Very difficult. We could try one last thing, which is, how about I dial the resistance in beforehand, so just a few clicks before maximum, and then I just start my sprint from standing. And here, I just stay way below my target power. So I got here to 900 watts on a Carol bike. I go all the way up to 1250 watts. So yeah, not the same thing, and just not optimal. As I sprint, yeah, so I can't just stop, but the whole frame starts to wobble and make noises because it's not designed for this. It's designed for moderate intensity workouts, whereas Carol is built for maximum intensity sprint trainings. And on Carol, it's a good experience, whereas on a conventional bike, it's quite a precarious experience. There's another type of bike, like the Wattbike Atom or the Wahoo Kicker bike, which are very popular with road cycling enthusiasts to use with apps like Swift. Those bikes have computer-controlled brakes, and you can program structured workouts through a variety of apps. However, those are generally controlled via a target power, and in a REHIT sprint, power is simply not constant. You reach your maximum, for me that's about 1200 to 1250 watts, in the first few seconds, and you hold your peak power just for a brief moment, and then you fatigue and power drops off. So if I were to set the target power on such a bike for the sprint at 1200 watts, I could do that for a couple of seconds, and then the bike's brake would grind me to a halt. If I set it lower, say at my terminal power in a REHIT sprint around 800 watt, the initial resistance would be too low and I would not reach my maximum intensity. On top of that, most people would simply not know their peak power, and the setting would not be automatically adjusted as you get fitter and stronger. So again, it's just not optimal. With Carol, your optimal resistance is applied automatically, at the right time, instantly. And the resistance keeps getting personalized and optimized for you as you get fitter and stronger. Carol's AI will make sure the workouts stay challenging for you, so you keep progressing for as long as possible and reach a plateau as late as possible. We can do that because we have by far the largest database of REHIT rides in the world, with hundreds of thousands of rides. This is several orders of magnitude larger than what academic researchers have available. So based on this data, we can calculate a very good estimate of what resistance would be optimal for you when you register a new account, based on your age, gender, weight, height, and activity levels. But once you start using Carol, we can fine-tune this based on your performance and how quickly you fatigue during the sprints. In the sprints, you reach your peak power after the first few seconds, and you can only hold it for that very brief moment. Otherwise, it just wasn't your peak power. And then you fatigue throughout the rest of the sprint and your power drops off. Through our algorithms, we know what the optimal shape of that curve is for somebody just like you. So Carol will make it harder as you get fitter and stronger, or also make it easier if you struggle, if you had an injury or did not manage to exercise for a while. So that's a very unique feature that only Caro Bike can offer. There's one other thing to highlight beyond the software and the algorithms. Caro Bike also has very robust hardware. The bike has a very sturdy, heavy-duty, fully commercial-grade frame construction, which is necessary for the extreme forces during the sprints. In most other bikes, even if they are high quality, you will feel quite a lot of flex in the frame, whereas the Caro frame is very firm and strong. So, are there any ways to do REHIT without a special bike? The answer is yes but or no but. First, short bursts of vigorous activity, sometimes referred to as exercise snacks, are definitely good for you. So we'd encourage that in any case. However, will you be able to recreate the full REHIT stimulus without a special bike? That's harder, but let's go through our options. REHIT works because you do the sprints at your personal maximum intensity and because of the very rapid onset of the intensity. If you want to try and recreate this, I would not recommend using a treadmill, stepper, elliptical, or rowing machine. My main concern would be about safety and injury risk. I just don't think it would be safe for most people to do explosive, all-out sprints on a treadmill or similar equipment. Also, the movement on a rower would be too jerky in my opinion. I would also not try to sprint up and down the stairs. We tried that and got a sprained ankle on the second run. With other bodyweight exercises, my concern would be about the level of intensity that you can reach over a very short period of time. The load just feels too low for REHIT. For example, with 20 seconds of burpees, I cannot get my heart rate anywhere near the level of where it goes on a Caro bike. On a regular exercise bike, as I explained earlier, it's just too difficult to get REHIT right and far from optimal. Now, there is the option of an air bike. It's an interesting alternative if you have access to an air bike at home or in your gym. The workout load on an air bike can increase quite rapidly as you pedal faster, and you can reach quite substantial power. The drawback is that it is essentially a bike with one gear, so a single defined relationship between pedal speed and power. So if you are, say, a 30-year-old male CrossFit athlete, it may be actually quite a good fit for you. However, if you are 65 years old, the one gear an air bike offers would almost certainly not be right and the workout would not be optimal. You couldn't expect to see the same results. Caro Bike, for comparison, has 255 gears and it personalizes and optimizes the resistance for you continuously to provide an optimal REHIT experience for every user. Also, with an air bike, the resistance increases as you pedal faster. However, to reach your maximum, the resistance should be applied just after you've accelerated to top speed. This is how scientists do REHIT research in their labs. The final alternative that I would probably recommend most, if your joints can cope with it, is the sprint track. So just a gentle, relatively short jog with two absolutely full speed, all out 20-second sprints. You don't see people sprinting at absolute top speed in the park very often. Maybe because people would feel self-conscious or embarrassed. And obviously there would be a fall and trip hazard. And sprinting can be hard on your joints. But this would definitely be the lowest cost alternative, and I believe one that would provide meaningful benefits. Of course, you would not have the REHIT specific metrics and dashboards, and it would be a bit harder to track your progress. So what other workouts can you do on a Carol bike? There's a wide choice of different workouts. Carol bike has a range of over 20 science-backed workouts that make it the world's most effective exercise bike. And we are constantly collaborating with top exercise researchers and scientists to develop a greater choice of workouts to make it easier for people to get fit. As the science evolves, the workout options on Carol bike evolve and new options get rolled out via over-the-air software updates. So let's have a look. First, we have a choice of REHIT rides. So beyond the original REHIT Intense ride with two 20-second sprints, you also have the REHIT Intermediate ride with two 15-second sprints and the REHIT Energizer with two 10-second sprints. While 5 seconds sounds like a really marginal difference, it actually makes a very large difference. While two 20-second sprints remain challenging for me even after 1200 REHIT rides, two 15-second sprints are much less taxing for me, and two 10-second sprints feel easy and energizing for me. And this is confirmed by the emotional response data we gather from our users. The REHIT Energizer with two 10-second sprints is of course less effective than the REHIT Intense with two 20-second sprints, providing around 40% of the fitness benefits. But in the end, adherence is everything. We have also added a REHIT option with three 15-second sprints. Despite having a larger overall sprint volume, 45 versus 40 seconds, and eliciting a similar physiological stress and therefore presumed training stimulus, the 3 times 15-second REHIT Intermediate workout feels for many users easier than the 2 times 20-second option. And so it's a great choice if two 20-second sprints feel too tough and two 15-second sprints not challenging enough. And the intention is very clear. We want to help you and everybody to find and build a sustainable workout habit. Then we have the Fat Burn series. This workout is closer to traditional HIIT. In these workouts, you do shorter 8-second sprints that are performed at low resistance and intensity, but you do a lot more of them. The options are with either 30, 45, or 60 sprints. And between the 8-second sprints, you have a 12-second rest. And with these rides, you burn a phenomenal amount of calories, twice as many minute per minute compared to regular cardio. And you will also sweat buckets. Then you have free and custom rides. Free ride means essentially that you can use the bike like a conventional exercise bike, where you control the resistance directly with the slider or the buttons on the screen. Constant power mode is similar, but instead of controlling the resistance, you choose a target power output and the bike will adjust the resistance so that you produce a constant power regardless of your pedal speed. On other bikes, this is often referred to as erg mode. Then we have zone-based free ride that lets you train in different power or heart rate zones. Within zone-based free ride, you can either select the power zone and let the bike control the resistance to keep you in that zone, or you can control the resistance and monitor yourself in what heart rate zone you are. Zone-based training, especially a Zone 2 and Zone 5 approach, has gained a lot of popularity lately, and Carol Bike is an excellent tool to implement such a training approach. Then we have further sprint interval training workouts, like the 10 times 6-second sprints, 3 times 20-second sprints, or 30 times 4-second sprints. Those are all workouts that have solid scientific backing and evidence and are further alternative choices to the REHIT rides. For example, if you're looking for a greater challenge, then the 3 times 20-second sprints are for you. Or if you prefer shorter, but still maximum intensity sprints, then the 10 times 6 seconds or 30 times 4 second sprint workouts are for you. The final section is the fitness tests. First thing to say is that with each REHIT ride, you get your fitness score. So the REHIT rides allow you already very precise progress tracking. However, fitness score is based on your performance in an anaerobic sprint and how much your heart rate shoots up in response and how quickly it recovers again. These fitness tests measure your fitness during aerobic exercise. As a result, you will obtain your functional threshold power, your maximum aerobic power, and your estimated VO2 max. These metrics also determine your power zones, so it is important to know these for a Zone 2 and Zone 5 training approach. You have different options available. The latest addition is a submaximal VO2 max test. This is quite easy to perform. After a short warm-up, you pedal for 6 minutes at a specific, relatively low target power that the bike calculates for you. Your heart rate goes up and then stabilizes at a higher level. And based on this, we can estimate your VO2 max and your FTP. Then there are 2 FTP tests. They're both very simple, but also very hard. You have to work out for continuous 20 minutes or for 2 8-minute periods at the maximum power you can sustain. Your functional threshold power is defined as the maximum power you can sustain for 1 hour. And to test it, it is sufficient to determine what the maximum is you can sustain for 20 minutes or 2 times 8 minutes. And from there, you can reliably calculate your FTP. These are very challenging tests and of course also challenging workouts in themselves. Then finally, we have the ramp tests. In those, the bike will control the resistance and increase your target power gradually until you reach your limit. The ramp tests take 7 to 15 minutes and follow the same procedure as is used in a lab to determine your VO2 max with a breathing mask and a gas analyzer. In fact, some of our commercial clients use Carol Bike with an additional gas analyzer for precise VO2 max testing. But everybody can use this test to measure their maximum aerobic power, which is highly correlated to VO2 max and FTP, and so is an excellent fitness test in its own right. So these are the Carol workout options. We're always working on adding more ride options. One will be releasing soon, or may have already released, depending on when you're viewing this video, is a workout builder, which will allow you to create your own structured workouts with some very special capabilities that no other cycling app can provide. This brings me also to third-party apps. While Carol is in some ways the most specialized bike you could get, totally optimized for REHIT, it is at the same time one of the most versatile because it works with the most popular third-party apps too. You could use it with a range of popular streaming apps like Netflix, Disney Plus, or YouTube, or also news channels. You would just control the resistance or target power with the overlaid Carol controls on the screen. In much the same way, it works with Peloton Digital, which you can install with a few clicks via the Google Play Store. You can also use Carol Bike with cycling apps like Swift, KinoMap, or Ruvi. If you do a Swift ride in erg mode, so target power mode, Swift will fully control the bike. Or if you use Swift in sim mode, the resistance will get harder or easier based on the gradient of your track in Swift. And you can virtually shift gears on the screen. So Carol Bike offers really a lot of choice and versatility, which we find is particularly important if you have several people in your household who would like to use the bike. With all these workout options, how do you create your optimal program? Clearly, there isn't just one optimal program. The best place to start is by asking yourself two questions. One, how much time do you have for cardio each week? And two, what are your objectives? If you have minimal time or you just don't want to spend a lot of time on cardio, the recommendation is really clear. REHIT is the optimal workout for you. REHIT can be done in as little as 5 minutes, and we recommend everybody should do 2 to 3 REHIT rides per week. If you mainly want to improve your cardiorespiratory fitness, the latest research suggests 2 REHIT rides per week are sufficient. If you're also looking for the full metabolic health benefits, 3 rides per week are recommended. If you want to do more, that's also fine. There's no downside to doing daily REHIT rides. The REHIT Intense ride with 2 20-second sprints is backed by the strongest scientific evidence as the shortest, most effective cardio workout. But if the Intense ride feels too hard for you, do try the intermediate or energizer alternatives, as adherence is most important and a slightly shorter sprint can make a surprisingly large difference. Now, if you have more time, we would still recommend doing 2 REHIT Intense or intermediate rides per week, given their effectiveness and because those rides drive the personalization for the other workouts too. So with your base covered with REHIT, consider your goals. If weight management is the top priority for you, add 1 to 3 fat burn rides per week. These demanding HIIT rides will make you sweat and burn twice as many calories as regular cardio exercise minute per minute. If you have a lot more time and want optimal longevity benefits, consider adding 2 to 3 longer workouts per week, ideally 60 to 90 minutes each, but performed at a lower intensity in Zone 2. Zone 2 training has recently gained a lot of popularity with strong endorsement from leading health and fitness experts like Dr. Peter Attia or Professor Andrew Huberman. Carol Bike offers many options for Zone 2 training, either with our zone-based free ride or while using third-party streaming or cycling apps. If you're looking for more comprehensive fitness tracking and self-quantification, you can periodically perform one of the fitness tests. And if you're just looking for distraction and entertainment while being physically active, you could participate via Peloton Digital in group cycling classes, or you can simply pedal as you feel like while watching entertainment streaming apps like YouTube, Netflix, or Disney+. Beyond cardio and endurance training, every exercise should, of course, also include some strength and mobility components. But that is not for this video. So how can you purchase or try out Carol Bike? You can purchase through our website at carolbike.com. We deliver to many countries around the globe. And if you live in mainland US, mainland Canada, or the UK, you will get free delivery, and we offer a 100-day risk-free trial. This means when you purchase a Carol Bike, you have 100 days to see whether it works for you and whether you like it. That's more than enough time to find out firsthand whether your fitness improves and whether you can build a sustainable habit. If, for any reason, the bike is not for you, we will pick it up and you will get a full refund with no questions asked. We do this because we don't operate showrooms, and so we recognize we have to give our customers this additional peace of mind, knowing they could return the bike if it was simply not for them. Another thing you could do to reassure yourself is review our Trustpilot feedback, which is excellent, because we do really care that our customers have a great experience and benefit from their Carol Bike. Now, You do find our bikes in some of the leading performance studios and gyms. These are listed on our website, and so visiting one of those would give you a chance to try the bike before you purchase. Finally, as another service to help you make the best decision, you can schedule a call with one of our fitness advisors, all of whom hold master's degrees in exercise physiology. They'll be able to give you personal advice and answer any further specific questions you might have. As promised, we will now pick up and address all the points that the skeptics might raise, and we will give our explanation or also just own up to it. We will do this in two parts. First about REHIT as a concept and the science behind it, and then about Carol Bike and our implementation choices. Science lives off and advances through debate and robust discussion. And there are obviously, besides the strong supporters, also skeptical voices. One thing that is not debated though is that you can achieve larger and faster gains through HIIT than through moderate intensity continuous training. However, skeptics do argue that lack of time is not the real reason why people don't exercise, and hence time-efficient workout options do not address the underlying root causes of inactivity. Now, while people might have sufficient discretionary time, competition for that discretionary time is intense and has increased with the ascent of the internet, mobile phones, TikTok, Netflix, and so on. Even essential, arguably enjoyable activities such as sleep get less time than they used to. We get about 1.5 hours less sleep per night now than we did in the 1940s. And a lack of sleep has immediate negative consequences. In this context, we believe what people say when they're surveyed and view the time required to perform an effective workout as an extremely important factor. Moreover, orthodox traditional exercise science has simply failed over many decades to address the inactivity crisis and failed to increase exercise participation, so that innovative approaches are urgently needed, even if there's not one workout that suits all. Skeptics further argue that HIIT is too strenuous and unpleasant for wide adoption, and that long-term adherence has not been demonstrated. This may indeed be true for many forms of HIIT, but REHIT is the shortest and easiest form of HIIT with just 2 20-second sprints. It is significantly less strenuous and more doable than traditional HIIT. While the last few seconds of an all-out 20-second sprint feel strenuous and can be uncomfortable with a burning sensation in your legs, the time spent in this state of displeasure is minimal. The sprints are practically over by the time you notice the displeasure. Moderate intensity continuous exercise of equivalent effectiveness, say a 45-minute run at 70% of your maximum heart rate, can also generate displeasure, and it would be for much longer periods. So the overall perception of displeasure may well be worse for many people. New Carol users achieve on average 3.2 rides per week in the first 100 days, which demonstrates it is a doable workout option for our customers. And we offer a no questions asked, risk-free 100-day home trial when you purchase a Carol bike. This is easily enough time to see whether REHIT is something that delivers benefits to you and whether REHIT is something you can stick to. Skeptics might further argue that HIIT may not be well tolerated for all users. Well, it is universally accepted that the rate of major adverse events following HIIT amongst healthy participants is very low. And REHIT is the type of HIIT with the shortest period of exertion and therefore is one of the safest and best tolerated forms of HIIT. New Carol users also must complete 3 ramp-up rides to get slowly used to REHIT. The sprints in the first ride are only 10 seconds long, and users can then increase the sprint length to 15 or 20 seconds if they feel ready for it. Carol Bike monitors the user's heart rate and displays a warning or aborts a workout in certain conditions. For example, if a too high heart rate is detected during the warm-up period before the sprints, or if the heart rate doesn't recover quickly enough in the recovery period after the first sprint. And again, we do offer a risk-free 100-day home trial, so you have more than enough time to see whether you tolerate REHIT well. Overall, please do keep in mind that inactivity is the fourth biggest killer worldwide. The couch is the real killer, not an exercise bike. Skeptics argue further that HIIT is performed at lower than prescribed intensities in unsupervised conditions, and that users could hence not expect the same results as have been shown in scientific trials. This criticism may apply to HIIT performed without special equipment or supervision. However, Carol Bike provides extensive performance metrics during and after the workout and guides the user through an automatically controlled workout protocol. Our workout database, which is by far the largest REHIT database in the world, proves that users increase exercise intensity over time, likely because of the improved strength and fitness. So we are very confident that the vast majority of our users train at appropriate intensity levels. Finally, the skeptics in the science community argue that some papers about the advantages of HIIT were methodologically weak and lacked sufficient statistical power. Now, while individual papers may or may not have had weaknesses, there is a large and growing body of evidence by now that supports the central claims about REHIT, so that it is effective and time efficient. And this has been demonstrated in many studies at multiple independent labs. So what feedback do reviewers, or in fact some of our leads and customers, give us? Let's start with the price of the bike. Carol is a premium product, but we think it offers exceptional value and that it is simply not possible to make a bike that's suitable for REHIT at a lower price. Unlike the most popular interactive bikes, Carol has been designed and certified for commercial and gym use. So you get a very robust and heavy-duty bike that's built to last and built to withstand the high forces of sprint training. Also, our monthly membership is much lower than with other popular bikes. So we feel we have fair and honest pricing, whereas many others will sell you a slightly lower priced bike, but they'll get your money through high monthly subscription fees. And finally, it really depends how you value your time. Our science-backed workouts can save you over 2 hours per week. And for many people, that makes it a good investment. Then let's talk about the monthly membership. To access the full functionality of Carol Bike, you need an active membership. The relatively low monthly fee gives you and 7 other members of your household access to the AI personalization and continuous optimization of your workouts, your detailed performance dashboard on bike, web, and mobile apps, and the full library of science-backed workouts. You also get regular over-the-air software updates with new features and new workouts. So your bike is not a static product, but it gets better and more capable over time. When new scientific insights emerge, this translates into new functionality on your bike. So in essence, your membership payments allow us to operate our servers and cloud-based services and the development of new features. If you cancel your membership, you can still use your bike, but without access to our cloud-based services and new feature releases. What does that mean? New riders start with an optimal resistance level, but they do not benefit from ongoing personalization and optimization. Riders have access to 6 core workouts rather than the 20 plus workouts currently available. That's 2 REHIT and 2 fat burn options, the free ride and a fitness test. And after workout, you will get standalone performance metrics, but without an online dashboard with trends and leaderboards. With or without a membership, you will always be able to use your Carol bike with third-party apps like Peloton Digital, Swift, KinoMap, YouTube, Netflix, and more. And that is a very significant difference to literally all other popular smart bikes that come with a screen and a subscription. Because with those, you're typically locked in and limited to using only their own app. And the bike loses normally all smart features if you do not pay their subscription. With Carol, even without subscription, you retain important smart features and have always the freedom to use a wide range of third-party apps. Of course, many of those will also involve modest monthly subscription fees. An almost inevitable comment in many reviews is about the size of our screen. But we have very consciously chosen to provide the smartest, not the largest screen. Literally all other smart bikes make huge compromises to include a large screen. So for example, the resolution of their screens is always 1920 times 1080 pixels, even on a 24 or 27 inch screen. We feel you can just about get away with that for video content, but not for metrics and graphics and text, because this would look unacceptably grainy at such close range, and because we're all so used to the beautiful retina displays of our smartphones. Our screen has 2K resolution on an 11.5 inch screen, which we think looks great and in line with what you'd expect these days. Further, most competitors have really low-powered budget processors. Our processing speed is 8 times faster than Peloton bike and 50% faster than Bike Plus, for example. Others don't publish what motherboard or CPU they use, but you can safely assume that it's even worse than Peloton's. Again, their low processing speed is just about acceptable for streaming video content. But for most gaming applications, like Swift, that would be completely unacceptable. The same is true for memory, storage, and so on. Critically, most other screens on popular smart bikes also don't have access to the Google Play Store. And so they are severely restricted in what apps can be loaded onto their screens. So we believe our screen outperforms others in every single dimension except size. So it is the smartest, not the largest. Another point we want you to be aware of is the sensation when you pedal standing out of the saddle. I explained earlier that we chose to include a freewheel clutch rather than fixed gear transmission because we feel that's necessary to perform explosive sprints safely. However, a fixed gear transmission helps maintain a rounder pedal stroke at low resistance levels when you're standing out of the saddle, which is quite common in group cycling classes like Peloton Digital. On Carol, the riding sensation is more like what you're used to from your outdoor bike. You can stop pedaling safely at any moment. But when you're out of the saddle, it requires more practice and effort to maintain a round pedal stroke, especially at a low resistance level. So our advice for pedaling out of the saddle is to increase the resistance to a higher level, even if you have to pedal more slowly, as this will be a nicer sensation. And of course, if you only want to do Peloton or SoulCycle style group cycling classes, maybe another bike is better for you. But if you want to do mainly REHIT, HIT, Zone 2, Zone 5, training, fitness tests, Swift, KinoMap, and also some group cycling classes, then Carol is very much for you. In a similar way, we'd like you to be aware of some points about Swift, KinoMap, Ruvi, and other cycling apps. Carol Bike is fully compatible with those apps because the screen communicates with the bike using Bluetooth FTMS. That's an industry standard that ensures compatibility. For example, you can use Swift in erg mode, then Swift controls completely the target power and the bike adjusts the resistance automatically to match that target power. Or you can use Swift in sim mode, and then Swift makes the resistance harder or easier depending on the slope of the virtual track. And on top, you can use virtual gear shifting through the Carol app controls on the screen. This makes Carol Bike very versatile. However, there are other bikes like Wattbike Atom, Tax Neo, or Wahoo Kicker Bike that are more specialized for Swift and offer more adjustment options for road bike enthusiasts. For example, you could program those so the gearing steps are exactly like on your road bike. So again, if you only want to do Swift, maybe another bike is better for you. But if you want to do REHIT, zone-based training, some group cycling classes, some Swift, then Carol is very much for you. We tried to build a bike that's perfect for REHIT, but also versatile, so there's something for all members of a household. Let's talk about warranty. Some reviewers commented that we only offer 1-year warranty as standard with an optional extension to 2 years. Now, in some way, that just keeps us in line with the biggest and most popular smart bike brands in the market. However, if you're getting the bike for your home, you should be reassured by the fact that Carol Bike is certified for gym and commercial use, and we're offering the same warranty to gyms and commercial studios where the bikes typically see much higher use than in people's homes. The bike is built to last with a very heavy-duty frame, and so we have now increased the warranty for the frame to 5 years. Next, you might find reviews question why Carol Bike doesn't connect to the Apple Watch. Well, it does connect, but you need to use an app on your phone to make that connection. There are several options on the App Store, for example, Hardcast or Echo. You just launch the app on your phone and the heart rate from your watch would then be broadcast to the bike. However, please be aware that the signal from a chest strap is simply the best and most accurate way to track your heart rate. We have tested practically all heart rate armbands with optical sensors. And while they're very convenient and connect very easily to the bike, their heart rate signal is less precise and less responsive. For many users, those optical sensors would miss the rapid increase in heart rate in response to the REHIT sprints. So while very convenient, heart rate armbands are more suitable for continuous rather than sprint interval training. Staying with Apple, we've been asked why the bike does not yet sync with Apple Health and Fitness. That's a very fair question. It's on our development pipeline and it's a functionality that we want to add as soon as possible. Another point that reviewers highlighted in the past was the limited music and soundtrack selection. This has been expanded and you have currently 11 soundtracks. We might add more in the future. But since REHIT workouts are so short, we don't feel that massively more music choice would add a lot. For longer free rides, you have of course the option to watch streaming apps like YouTube and Netflix, or of course also Peloton Digital on the bike. For music streaming services like Spotify and Apple Music, we feel it's easiest to listen to those simply on your smartphone, and we see little advantages to include those on the bike. One thing that some reviewers thought we might have too much of is metrics. And it is true, the dashboard contains a lot of information to track your progress across 5 domains. That's activity, fitness, calorie burn, power, and energy output. And you can drill down further into all of those. But for each metric, there's contextual information and explanation. And overall, we know that many of our users actually appreciate the rich data. Next, some reviewers have noted that you need an internet connection. That's right. It is a connected device that will typically need Wi-Fi. If your Wi-Fi drops, you can still use the bike in offline mode. But for example, the resistance optimization takes place on our servers. Hence, it does need an internet connection in principle. If you don't have Wi-Fi and only wired internet, you can use an Ethernet to USB-C adapter to create a wired connection. However, please note the Bluetooth connection between the tablet and the bike will always be required. So you could switch off the Wi-Fi on the screen, but could not put it all together to airplane mode. Lastly, if you search in the archives of the internet, you might find some reviews of our first generation model that might make some further observations. But I won't address them here because we have addressed those already with our second generation bike. We have a longer, very detailed assembly video where we show every single step with extensive comments. For this video, we just include a quick time lapse to give you an overview. You can of course also get the bike fully assembled as an option, but it is fairly simple to do yourself. Most of the bike is pre-assembled. You would need to only attach the stabilizers, pedals, handlebar and water bottle holder, and of course the screen. We strongly recommend that you assemble the bike with 2 people because the bike is heavier. The box weight is 144 pounds or 65 kilograms. Once assembled, the bike itself weighs 120 pounds or around 55 kg. But you can move it relatively easily with the transport wheels. The bike itself has a footprint of around 46 by 22 inches. That's smaller than a yoga mat. So you need an area of around 46 by 46 inch, so you can also get on and off comfortably. In metric dimensions, that's about 116 by 116 centimeters. The bike needs to be plugged in to a standard socket, and you will need a Wi-Fi connection. In terms of maintenance, very little is required as the bike has a frictionless magnetic brake. So the main things are just to keep it clean, check the lock levers are tight before you use the bike, and periodically check that the pedal, handlebar, and stabilizer bolts are tight. Thank you so much for watching our comprehensive Caro bike review. If you are considering to get a Caro bike, we hope this video gave you all the information you needed. There is more information on our website at carobike.com. For example, with links to many scientific papers, if you want to go really deep. And if you have any more questions, please leave us a comment, contact us directly, or schedule a call with our fitness advisors. Thank you so much again, and I hope to see you soon on our leaderboard.